Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first installment of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on Inspire Small Biz. And thanks to my friend Ryan Henry for offering the opportunity. I'm Danny O'Malia, Indy's Trusted Servant, as many of you know. And my first guest today is a good friend, Grace Trahan. And she is, I guess, for lack of a better term, the Vice President of Public Relations for my alma mater, Cathedral High School. And Cathedral High School is something that's near and dear to my heart. I've been on the board of directors since 1980, and all my kids and grandkids have gone, are going, or will go to Cathedral High School. And we've got two major initiatives we want to talk to you about today concerning Cathedral High School. And the first is our new Innovation Center, which, as many of you know, schools are doing a lot with this whole STEM thing: science, technology, engineering, math. And if there's one place Cathedral's facilities were a little short, it might have been in the area of the labs and so forth. We built a whole new wing with brand new labs to teach the traditional stuff like biology and chemistry and physics, some new stuff like robotics, and the student cafeteria is in the basement, and it is fantastic. So tell us about the new Innovation Center.
It is beautiful. We are preparing students for careers that haven't even been thought of yet. That is how state-of-the-art this facility is. 40,000 square feet of space for students to collaborate and to get ready for those careers of the future. We have robotics, we have chemistry, and we have opportunities for classes to integrate and to collaborate together. And that's really what it's all about.
Movable walls.
Absolutely. Movable walls, movable spaces, movable chairs. Everything is just movable and accessible, and with beautiful windows to inspire to, just with a beautiful view. It's phenomenal. People who come into it, especially in the dining hall, they say, this looks more like a college than a high school.
Maybe even an above average college dining hall.
Absolutely. And we are a college prep school, so we are getting them ready to succeed in the future.
I know that as the building was coming up, an awful lot of Cathedral supporters would drive up to watch the kids play ball or whatever, and they would be worried that the beautiful, I guess you might call it, college atmosphere of the campus would be interrupted by this whole new wing. But somehow or other, now that it's done, it still looks the same, right?
It's beautiful. We still have the courtyard where students can play ball, can sit out and eat dinner or eat lunch. And it also has amazing acoustics. So we look forward in the future to having concerts out there because of the way that it's sloped and built. The acoustics are amazing. So it's just a beautiful space to gather, to eat, and to celebrate our Cathedral family.
And I should mention, at one end of the wing, we've got the windows looking out on the courtyard, which is wonderful. We have a beautiful stained glass, 2-story high. Well, you tell them about it.
It's a beautiful Mary feature wall. It's the Virgin Mary looking down, and you can see she's looking down on Cathedral High School, and it's all backlit with thousands of LED lights, and it looks like an actual window, but it's not, and it's absolutely beautiful. It was commissioned by local artist Carl Leck, and we are so pleased, and it's just a beautiful space to sit and reflect and to be peaceful, and it just gives you this sense of calm whenever you're in that area. It's absolutely breathtaking.
I've always been a huge stained glass fan, going to church on Sundays, and would try to position myself to look at the most stained glass I could during the Mass. And this is beyond belief. It's not just the Virgin Mary, and of course, for those of you who are not Cathedral people, she's kind of our patron saint.
Yes.
We have a slogan: under her leadership, we shall not tire.
That's right.
And that's something that's drummed into you from the time you're a freshman there. And not only is the Virgin Mary and a lot of color on the mural, but the other buildings on campus are featured in the mural.
Absolutely.
So Loretta Hall and Cunningham Hall and the Student Life Center and all of that, it's just a stunning piece of art. And I think our students are going to be well served by that.
Absolutely. They love being there, just sitting there talking with their friends, and they can't help but marvel and realize how blessed they are to be in such a beautiful space as 14, 15, 16-year-olds. They're really fortunate.
Yeah. And what was I going to talk about? Well, let's talk about the cafeteria part of it.
Yes.
the different stuff the kids can have for lunch. Talk about that a little bit.
My cafeteria didn't look like that.
No, well, the cafeteria down at 14th and Meridian looked nothing like that.
No.
They had one thing, and it was usually a hamburger.
Absolutely,
period.
absolutely. We had pizza or fries, but
Yeah.
here you can actually get dishes from all over the world. So it's healthy and it's expanding their palates, if you will, and they have choices. And they can even get vegetables, a salad bar, a deli, different teas or sodas, or not. They don't get a whole lot of sodas, but water.
Did I see some sushi in there?
Sushi,
Tacos,
yeah. You name it. Like I said, not our cafeteria from the old days by any stretch of the imagination.
By the way, you're not from here.
I'm not. I'm from Texas.
You're from Texas, okay?
Yes.
Well, it wouldn't do any good to ask you what high school you went to. Where in Texas?
Near Houston, Orange, Texas, which is near Houston.
Okay, very good. Yes. And you came to Indianapolis to be on, which, was it 13?
6.
Channel 6,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How long were you the news lady on Channel 6?
18 years.
Was it that long?
I know. I started when I was like 10. So just kidding. No, I'm aging myself. I was there 18 years. Absolutely loved it. But it was interesting because I did the morning show. And when I first started, the morning show began at 6 a.m. Then they moved it to 5 a.m. Then they moved it to 4:30 a.m. And as they were moving the time, I was having more kids. And it just became a situation where I wanted to be more present with my kids, both mentally and physically. And God works in beautiful ways. And here I am today in a job where I can be on the same campus, the same building with 2 of my kiddos. So God is good. And I'm still in communications. I'm telling the beautiful story of Cathedral High School, and I couldn't be happier about it.
And one son is in my grandson Connor's senior class, and a daughter is in my grandson Danny's sophomore class.
So we're stuck together for a while.
We are stuck together for quite some time. So if somebody is curious to see the Innovation Center, who should they contact?
They should contact our admission staff. As a matter of fact, speaking of which, we have our open house coming up. So if you want to register for that, go to gocathedral.com/open house. You can register for open house, and during that time, you can take a tour of the Innovation Center. You can see that wonderful cafeteria we've been talking about, the beautiful Virgin Mary feature wall that we've been talking about, all of the labs. It'll be a perfect opportunity to see the Innovation Center and to find out more about what Cathedral High School is all about.
So if you have I'd say 6th grader on up, come to the open house on October
14th. That's a Thursday. We are going to have Mass at 5 p.m. in the Student Life Center, and then the open house will be in full swing starting at 5:30 until 8 o'clock.
And you can get a tour not only of the new Innovation Center, but of the whole campus, the gym, and the other buildings, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
That's a huge, important date for people that are trying to figure out where to send their kids to school. And I would recommend, going to a couple of 3 different schools, open houses. They all have them. Nobody does it like Cathedral, though, right?
Oh, my goodness. I have to tell you, that's what sold my son, because I wasn't working there just yet. And he looked at 3 different schools. He went to 2 schools and he thought, oh, these are nice. Went to Cathedral. He said, Mom, this is it. As we were driving down the hill, there's just something so special. And we talk about that family atmosphere and that sense of pride. And it's real. You have to be there. And once you see it and you experience, you're like, that's what they're talking about. And that's what sold it for him.
Yeah, we hear that from a lot of people. A lot of people from out of town, they don't really know much. Of course, there are other schools, and the Cathedral experience is, we think, very unique. For those of you who don't know, Cathedral High School is 103 years old now, okay? So we're the oldest Catholic high school in the city of Indianapolis. It is a college prep school, but let's talk about some of the other virtues of Cathedral. Let's talk about the diversity of Cathedral for just a second. We've got some of the richest and poorest kids in Indianapolis. We've got kids from all sides of town, even though we're located on the northeast side. Tell us where.
We are on 56th Street. I'm going a little bit crazy here. I can't remember the exact address. Isn't that crazy?
5225
56th Street. Thank you. I think it's time for me to get a drink of water. Here we go. 5225 East
56
56th
in
Street.
Emerson.
Thank you very much. But we have 5 different kinds of diversity, we like to say.
Talk about that a little bit.
We have, as you mentioned, geographic diversity. We have students. We actually have a few students who drive from Columbus, Indiana, to come to Cathedral High School. We have a family from Bloomington. They travel. That tells you something. When people are willing to drive that far to go to school, that we have something special. So we have the geographic diversity. We also have, like you mentioned, the economic diversity. We have some of the wealthiest, and we have some kids who are on free and reduced lunch program, and they all come together because you know what? That's life. In life, you're going to learn how to deal with people from all walks of life. And at the end of the day, you realize we're more alike than we are different, aren't we? We also have academic diversity. So we have some kids who come in and they are ready to take AP classes off the bat. We have other kids who are enrolled in our learning support program. And the beautiful,
now, my grandson Connor is in that program.
It's phenomenal. We transform kids. We have parents who come in and they're a little worried and they think, oh, I would love for my child to go to college, but I'm just not sure if he or she is college material. By the time they're done in 4 years, they're getting into some of the top colleges and universities in the country.
Some of which have programs of their own, too.
Absolutely.
More and more for kids that need help with things like dyslexia, for instance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's phenomenal. And we also have the diversity of race. We have about 35% students of color, and also even religious diversity. Now, we are a Catholic school, but not everyone at Cathedral is Catholic. And that is also one of the beautiful things, is that all of the students go to Mass and all of the students feel comfortable where they are in their religious thought. And we respect all. And again, that's because that's life, right?
That's like one of my favorite things, as you know, and as people that know me know, I'm a huge Cathedral athletic fan. And the football team, of course, is probably the main thing with Cathedral. Mm-hmm. And the football team has Mass together every Friday morning on game day. And that's been on Facebook a few times. And that's the religious aspect of Cathedral, but religious diversity as well.
Absolutely.
Is very, very, very important. So we talked about your son off camera before, and you said he is leaning towards IU?
He's leaning toward IU, yes. He has loved Cathedral, and he went to a smaller middle school before he went to Cathedral. And now he's like, Mom, I think I want to go big, really big. And IU's really big. So
we'll see how it goes. Just so people don't know, what is the enrollment at Cathedral?
We're at about 1,070 right now.
Okay. Yes. So it's kind of a middle-sized school. It's not as big as Carmel. It's not as small as Covenant Christian or, really small schools. Once again, the open house, let's go back to the open house for just a minute. It's October 14th. Yes. You don't have to sign up ahead of time. You can just show up, or you can go to where to sign up?
GoCathedral.com/open house. You can register. It'll save you a little time. So once you get there, you'll be able to start immediately on your tours. But if you don't register, that's not a problem either.
Great. So what else is going on at Cathedral right now? We got we do have the 6-0 football team. Got a big game tonight in Cincinnati, and when I leave here, I'm driving to Cincinnati for the game.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah.
Well, I know you're very modest, but coming up on October 7th, we have the Evening of Excellence, and at that time, we are going to induct our 10th Circle of Excellence inductees, and Mr. Amalia is one of those who's being inducted into the Circle of Excellence because of everything that you have done for Cathedral High School over the years. We are so grateful to you for everything that you've done and everything that you've meant to our school.
Well, thanks, Grace. And that event is open to the public. I don't know, is it sold out or anything?
It's getting close. As a matter of fact, as I was coming here for this interview, I got a text from our Vice President of Advancement, and she said, we're up to 300 already, and people are still registering. So
some of the other inductees, if you're Cathedral people, posthumously, my friend Steve Schaefer is being inducted, and my friend Julian Peebles, who's a year ahead of me at Cathedral, who served as president while I was chairman of the board at Cathedral, is being inducted. Some older folks are being inducted as well. Amy Greer, whose dad was the in charge of discipline at Cathedral for many, many years. And she was a great athlete at Cathedral back in, I think she graduated in the early 90s, is one of the other inductees. And some of the inductees go back to the 30s, right?
Absolutely.
I don't even know who they are.
And Linda Bamerick, one of our wonderful coaches.
Linda's still on staff there.
Yep.
She coached softball. She coached my daughter Shannon in softball way back in the day. And she coached girls basketball, and she's still on staff. So she's being inducted. It's a wonderful event. And so what if somebody wants to come to that if they can do it in time? Where do they go for that?
And that they can go to gocathedral.com/EOE, which stands for Evening of Excellence. So go there. There are still seats available. It's absolutely free. This is also an opportunity to raise money for tuition assistance at Cathedral. So if you're so inclined, you can make a donation that evening that goes for tuition assistance. We talked a little bit about the diversity and the economic diversity at Cathedral. And so we're always trying to raise money so more and more kids have the opportunity to have this transformational experience at Cathedral High School.
Now, this is the third year for the Circle of Excellence. My father was in the original class. My father's one of the people that helped save Cathedral back in the early 70s. So I've been to the event twice. And one of the things that's great about this, and it's also great about our big fundraiser, the Shamrocks, which we can talk about that in the rest of the time, even though that's not till February, is the student involvement in the event.
Oh my goodness.
We have students perform the choir, or we have students speak at the Circle of Excellence, and it's always very, very impressive. At the Shamrocks, the students are just fabulous. So in the remaining time we've got left, let's talk a little bit about the Cathedral Shamrocks, which is now about 30 some years old.
Yeah, it's been around
It's been around since the late 70s. It is in the last Saturday of February.
Yes.
And it is entirely the funds that we raise at that event is entirely for scholarships and help for the kids that can't afford the full tuition. It's a heck of an evening.
It is incredible. And when you walk in, our gym is transformed. The Welch Activity Center, you walk in and you forget that you're in a gym, because depending on the theme, for example, I'll never forget one year we had the ski theme.
Skiing.
Oh my goodness. And
you were in the Alps.
You were in the Alps. Absolutely. We had a ski lift, the whole shebang. It is just such a fun night to celebrate the Cathedral family. And you talked a little bit about showcasing the students. We'll have students sing and students speak, and students in the band will play, and you're just in awe of these students, these young adults, and just how articulate they are and how confident they are. And it's just a really fun night. And I'm always deeply touched by the generosity of our Cathedral family, people just giving from their heart. And there's something about Cathedral when so many people want to give to make sure that other families have an opportunity to have that experience.
Now, I might be jumping the gun on this, but I think it was 2 years ago or maybe 3 years ago, we bought a puppy at the Shamrocks. My wife and I, for the little grandkids.
Yes.
Is there going to be a doggy in the Shamrocks, or do we know yet?
Well, I don't know. I have to talk to Nicole Beasley.
Too early
to say, but that was a big hit. I was so jealous. That puppy was so adorable.
It was an adorable puppy. And the great story about that, it's a little off topic, but my two grandsons that are at Cathedral now, 7 years ago, they lost both parents in a murder-suicide. And about 2 months before that, they lost their dog, who had been 11 or 12 years old, wonderful dog. Anyway, when my youngest daughter and her husband moved from St. Louis to take the two boys with their little kids, they didn't want to have a dog right away because they had the little kids, crawling around all over the place. Finally, they said, we can get a dog. And I cannot tell you, when we walked into the house with that dog, those two boys who'd been without their dog for 3 or 4 years, man, they went crazy. And that was really, really cool. So that event is the last Saturday in February. Obviously, we were way ahead of time on that, but that is a fabulous event. And if you're thinking of sending a kid to Cathedral, we highly recommend you come to the Shamrocks and just see what Cathedral can put on.
Absolutely. You will be so impressed and so amazed. And we talk a lot about family, and it seems a bit cliche, but when you get there, you'll feel that connection, and you can't help but want to be a part of it, and to have your child be a part of that and a part of the transformational experience that happens at Cathedral High School. And again, it doesn't matter where your kiddo might be on the academic scale. I promise
We
you,
got a
Cathedral will
space for
take you to absolutely and take them to the next level. It's just amazing. You talk a little bit about my son. He came in very shy, didn't know very many people, and now he's everywhere. People will say, "Gosh, I see your son everywhere at Cathedral." So that shyness, it's all gone.
That's fantastic. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
Uh, Gosh, I just feel so blessed to be at Cathedral, and you don't have to wait until open house if you want to come and see what we're talking about and all the blessings that abound. You can have your kiddo shadow if you have a child in the 8th grade.
Talk about that.
It is so much fun because what they do is we pair them with someone who has similar interests. Let's say you have a kiddo who's interested in robotics. Well, we will pair them for the day with a Cathedral student who is in the robotics class. So they'll go to class with them, they'll go to lunch with them.
They'll meet teachers.
They'll meet coaches, they'll meet other students. And it's a really good way to get a sense of the culture that is Cathedral. You talked a lot about other schools, and by all means visit other schools, but the best way to really find out if you can see yourself at a particular school and fitting in that culture is to shadow and spend an entire day there. And parents can even come in and have a meeting one-on-one with anyone in our admission staff. They're always open to you coming in and asking any questions that you might have, and even walking around the campus yourself to get a feel for what it's all about. The Cathedral Irish, what are they talking about?
And they'll help you with the forms that you need to fill out for whatever you hope to accomplish. The shadowing, if somebody wants to shadow, if they have a child, now you said 8th grade, could a 7th grader shadow, or do they have to be 8th grade?
8th grade.
8th grade only. Mm-hmm. And who do they call there?
Yes, they can call our admissions department, Anna Tall or Beth Whistler, or again, you can go to our website and find all of their phone numbers and information, gocathedral.com/apply, and you'll have all the information that you have there, all of the contacts, and they'll get back to you right away to set something up for you.
Grace Trahan with Cathedral High School, thank you for being my first guest on Ryan's new website. And my first YouTube interview that I've ever done.
Wow, this was an honor. This was fun. And the address is 5225 East 56th Street. I do remember that.
Okay. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Okay.